Right.
Welcome, everyone. I'm gonna have to look at my own schedule. I'm David Metz. I am the chair, a co-chair of this committee, and I appreciate everyone's presence here today. Um, let's do roll call, shall we? Um, is Lauren Bertrand here?
Present.
Jeff Klein
Present.
and Lily. What's Lily's last name?
Sanchez.
Lily Sanchez is absent, I believe. So I think that's everyone who is on that committee. Lori Sanchez is the what is it, community
Third,
member,
or stakeholder member.
stakeholder member. So we will get started. Welcome, everyone. The purpose of today's meeting is to refocus on some of the items that we did introduce to the general board meeting earlier this month, and retool them, see if we can get more clarity on them, and with the intention of bringing them back, and then also take another look at some of the items which didn't make it into the meeting due to time restrictions, and just sort of prepare them. This is, as I understand it, our last chance to do it before the April deadline. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the minutes. Jeff, would you mind clicking on that hyperlink? I don't know if you all had a chance to look at these. I typed them up based on the Zoom recording. I'm also open to any comments about just general style, formatting style, whether should be more brief, less brief. Um,
I'm making a motion to approve the minutes.
okay. Are there any seconds?
I second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, say, how are we doing this? Hand raise, aye. Let's do an oral. Okay. Uh, I can't see the group. Hold on.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Unless you
I'm
object.
just trying to see how I can do a better job of seeing everyone.
You could just go down the list and call out our names if you want.
Okay, great. All right. So if I need to, so it's unanimous. Motion passes. Minutes are approved. Thank you, Jeff. I wonder if you could switch back to the agenda. Okay, now we have time for any community announcements. If there are members of government agencies or nonprofits, each speaker has up to 3 minutes.
Well, that's for the general board. This is
Oh,
just
I'm looking at the wrong.
general public comment.
Sorry, I'm reading off the wrong agenda.
The one I
Okay.
have on the screen, can you see that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking at it
Okay.
separately. Okay. So,
No.
general public comment. Is there anything from anyone from the public that would like to make any comments? You have up to 2 minutes.
Hello, it's nice to meet all of you. My name is Matilda McLaren. I am a journalism student attending the University of Southern California. I was excited to attend tonight's meeting. It's focused on a class assignment that I have, where I have to attend a public meeting, and um, I'm originally from the Chicago area where I actually was on a local environmental committee. So I find things like this really fascinating, but I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of make my presence known. And then I guess the only question I sort of had, if it is relevant enough to be answered, if not, that's okay. But my question was kind of the most rewarding part of meeting together during these ad hoc committees.
I'm not sure this is only my second time. Thank you for introducing yourself, Matilda. It's great to meet you. I'm not sure the nature of whether the public comment can turn into a Q&A. Is that possible, Lauren?
So we usually don't have back and forth kind of discussion. So we could make comments at the end of this meeting to maybe address your questions, but typically we're just supposed to let the members of the public make a comment and not really have a back and forth. But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Of course, understood.
Great. Thank you, Matilda.
Thank you.
Would anyone else from the public like to speak? Okay, so since I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything, I think we're going to move on. So it looks like I went out of order because I was reading off the wrong agenda. So we've already approved the minutes. So we're going to move on to new business. So today we have, we're going to start with discussion and possible motion on recommendations for these amendments to our bylaws. So we're going to start, I believe most of these are the same. Is that correct?
No.
Or are there any?
So we need to make a distinction because there are some items that are unfinished business from our last general board meeting that we don't have to bring back to committee, the ones that we didn't already vote on with the general board. But the ones that did not pass, we have a couple that we are bringing back here to committee, and then we have some new ones as well.
I see. So we have the boundaries item up first. This is as per the conversation with Carrie, is that correct?
Yeah, this is basically my interpretation of what she submitted. So since she's not here to speak to it, I believe she wants us to try to get basically like the Elysian Theater and the basketball courts and all of that stretch of Riverside as part of our neighborhood. The only thing I want to mention though is I'm learning there's a very lengthy separate process for adjusting our boundaries, and it does involve going to Echo Park Neighborhood Council, and it also involves petitioning the neighborhood and getting signatures. So I'm not sure if she can make this in time, but I haven't heard back from OTC on the current process, but I would be happy to vote for this. I just don't know if we'll actually have time. So we still have to figure out the timeline and the process for updating boundaries. Because if it does coincide with the bylaws, then we'd have to, I don't know, it's cutting it pretty close. So
Yeah, I wanted to mention,
go on.
Lauren, I appreciated your comments about the research you did initially about changing the boundaries, because I had that thought too. It's like we couldn't just take someone else's, regardless of what it says in our bylaws. It seems like there's a lot more coordination. So if I'm in support, because like she had mentioned, and I haven't looked into it too carefully, but even like Juan's Market and the businesses over there, she says it's questionable on sort of that those should be in our neighborhood council, but she's not sure that is. And so in spirit, I'm in favor of it. So maybe any motion could be more directing someone or requesting that someone go to the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council and engage with them. So I think that would be appropriate in a motion to take, a recommendation to take to the board for full board approval.
yeah, she said she would. So it's involving Silver Lake and Echo Park, but I think from what I gathered from her submission is she's focusing more on the Echo Park side, but unless someone interpreted it differently, but
I think I think it was like it's because the boundaries vague is right. It sort of ends at the 5, but then there's areas outside of the 5, but it's sort of
yeah,
that gray
but I
area.
believe Wands is like Silver Lake, and then
Yeah.
Asian Theater is Echo Park. So we're talking about two different councils, but there's a whole separate application from the one I found is pretty old. That's why I'm asking OTSI to confirm if it's still the current process, but it's like it's super it's way lengthier than the bylaws application. It's like a whole separate thing. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I also think the Elysian Theater should be Elysian Valley, and it's, why wouldn't that be us? So I'm happy to vote on this. It just might be totally moot if we find out that we can't get all of that stuff done in time to make the bylaws application. So, and also she might say something different about what she wanted to submit, but I think this was her goal. I don't know if anyone else has any other discussion comments, but I'm happy to make a motion.
Did you just declare?
Go ahead, Dave.
Go on. Well, I just want to clarify that Carrie was CC'd on your correspondence with Siri.
No.
What does she know? Because all I know is she emailed me asking if I got her thing, and I actually didn't respond because I forgot. But I checked with you all, and I thought she would be CC'd. But does she know that we're taking I guess she does, because this appeared. I sent her this agenda item.
I told her after the last meeting I'd dig up the email.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because I thought that she mixed.
So she should know that we
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in
can I just make one more comment?
Sure, go ahead.
Just in support of the Elysian. Sorry, not is it still the Union that's next to the Elysian Theater, or on Riverside there? There's like the basketball court, and then there's I think it was like a Union Hall or some building. Anyway, that's been used in the past for like community meetings for our community. So I think that really strengthens our sort of intent to add that into our neighborhood. You know, any meeting about Elysian Valley should probably be at a location in Elysian Valley. So I think that again, I think that strengthens it. That was the only other comment I wanted to make.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Go on.
Pull up the map in the bylaws. And I can show y'all what I think she's saying she wants.
Sure. Do you want to share that? And I'll stop sharing. Do you have it handy?
Bylaws.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, so super fuzzy. Well, it's really hard to see. I don't know why it's so out of focus, but
No, I think I think you got it there.
stretch of Riverside right next to the freeway.
Yeah.
Where's the theater?
The theater's basically at Newell and Riverside. It's almost at Newell, so it's really close to the consulate across the street.
But But does it fall in the shaded area here?
No,
No.
let me
Okay.
pull up a better map because this is really hard to see. Frank, I see you have your hand up. Do you want to make a comment?
Oh, it's down.
Oh, Frank, you're on mute if you were talking. If not, it's okay.
Okay, I have a good map. Let me show y'all.
Great.
Okay, can you see? Actually, I don't. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right one. Bylaws on. Here we go. Okay, so
Much better.
basically,
Right.
this
I
is
see.
Lowell and Riverside right here, and the Elysian is like right here, and this is outside of our boundaries. So,
And then Juan's market is just above that.
and yeah, so Wands is on this side, on Riverside. Um, so I believe she's saying we should also have this stretch of Riverside.
Yeah. So basically, with the line with where it shows above where it has Riverside included, that boundary would continue down to the green.
Yeah,
Right.
so I kind of
Right.
did the map to try to
Yeah.
define what she's saying um and have it go all the way to the 5 and then to where the 5 meets the river. Frank, did you want to make a comment? Raise your hands up.
Yes, I did.
Go ahead, Frank.
Okay. Yeah. That area that Carrie was talking about, we've tried to include that in our neighborhood boundaries before, but it's failed because we've never submitted the paperwork in time. But both sides from Alessandro going towards Stadium Way belong to Echo Park, including Juan's, the consulate, the church that's there on the corner of Newell. That whole area belongs to Echo Park, all the way down to Stadium Way, both sides. So we've tried to incorporate before because it influences our area more than it has a bigger impact than it does Echo Park. And
Right.
the other problem we've had is when we submit it, all they see is a flat map. So they see the Golden State Freeway as a boundary. And so that's all they see. So that's the problem we've had in the past also. But we've submitted this once before. But it doesn't hurt to submit it again. At least bring it to the neighborhood council. All they can say is no if we really strongly want to include it again.
What's the time? Thanks, Frank. What's the timeline? Like, how feasible is that?
Everything is April 1st.
Yeah, let me show you guys the boundaries
Well, Lauren,
I found.
Lauren, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to show y'all what it entails because it's very involved. Okay, so if this is the current application, we'd have to fill out this entire thing if the board is on board with this, and it involves petitioning, signatures. They're asking if we had meetings.
Yeah.
It's so we'd have to pull all of this off potentially by April 1st if the boundaries adjustment is the same as the bylaws. adjustment. So just so y'all know and have the context. I haven't gotten confirmation from OTSI if there's like a new process now, but this is all I could find for how to get boundaries adjusted.
Question on this. Would this come after we go to the other neighborhood councils and get their buy-in, or we submit this and then go to the other neighborhood councils?
So, because look, it says like, did you basically try to work with the other council? And so, you know, likelihood we could, after March 11th, that Echo Park Council is having a meeting that we could attend. It's just like, seems very unlikely to me. We could pull all this off in time unless we find out boundaries, don't follow the same timeline and they're separate than the bylaws, but these are technically in our bylaws. So there's a chance this might, not be possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Echo Park's next, I guess they call it their Board of Governors meeting, because their executive committee meeting is slightly before it, but it's not until March 24th.
Yeah.
So that would mean that we would have like a week after having done that to fill out the part. I guess we could fill out the form and just not and leave that part blank, but
if we have to have like some kind of community meeting or something on, I don't see
from the community. Like they want us to actually like prove that the neighborhood does want this, I believe.
Yeah. Probably unlikely to get this done in time before April 1st.
Yeah. So, I propose we can bring it to the board, but hopefully we'll have someone from down there at the meeting and, we are acknowledging that we received this, but they can actually clarify if it's even feasible,
Do you know, I know I have to get all the changes by April 1st. Do we know what the next date would be after April 1st? Like, is it 2 years or?
That's what I think it's every 2 years. Frank, do you have a comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it used to be every 2 years, and they've changed it to every year recently. So you still have a chance to submit it again next year.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense to, now that we know that what's involved takes significantly more time. We can always try this later in the end of the summer, and it gives us time to do all the different meetings and attend the other neighborhood councils and just kind of gear up for the change. I mean, I don't know how pressing this is. There isn't really anything happening that not having the right boundaries really throwing us off. So maybe that's something we just kind of plan out for a few months from now.
Well, I would prefer to kind of put the ball back in Carrie's court. Like if, like here's what is being proposed, but if, let the board know, like someone is proposing this and we'll probably find out, live at the board meeting if it's even feasible, and it might die immediately. But if there is a chance, then it's really up to Carrie to initiate, like if she's willing to try to get all this done, just to give her a shot. But we can also let her know like our odds are better next year. This might immediately fail. So,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather just like, for transparency, just like acknowledge it and let her see it through. Because either way, either we can do it or we can't, and we'll find out, from done.
Yeah.
So you're suggesting that we vote on it and, potentially say yes, and then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least there's an opportunity for Carrie to do something.
Yeah, just because, like, say there is some slight chance she could get it done in like 2 weeks' time. If she's willing to take that on and spearhead it, then you know, that's fine with me. But, maybe we can just make the point to her. It sounds like if we're also potentially going up to Echo Park Neighborhood Council next year, um, instead of trying twice, we could just wait and just let her decide how she wants to handle it.
Okay, that sounds reasonable.
I think I'm on board with that. I totally agree, Lauren. Like, let's see if Carrie wants to pursue this. I think just for official purposes, the board would have to pass a motion that uh, allowed Carrie to act on behalf of the neighborhood council to represent us at other meetings. So that could be part of what we do in terms of this item. And then also the other thing is maybe part of that motion could be, for Carrie to put together a plan and timeline on what it looks like reasonably to get this done and get the boundaries changed. So she could return with, the following meeting with, a timeline and so forth.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I mean, she also needs to really clarify if what my translation, if that's what she actually intended, and then also present, her own map. So
Yeah.
do you want to make a motion to vote on this with contingencies?
Sure, I'll make a motion, but do we need to do public comment before that?
Yes. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, would anyone like to make a motion to recommend with contingencies?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to the board to that this committee recommends Carrie or any other board member who's interested act on behalf of the Elysian Valley Neighborhood Council to engage with our neighbors and also put together a plan for eventual boundary change.
I second. Okay, so let's do a roll call. Lauren Barturin
Yes.
and Jeff Klein.
Yes.
And I'll say yes too, so it's unanimous and motion passes.
Dave,
So-
I'm going to share my screen so it'll be easier for you to see the
sure.
screen. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Lauren, I didn't mean to override your share. Okay. Sorry. Oops. No, that's wrong. Okay.
All right, let's take a look here. So we're moving on to Article 5, the governing board, official actions, amendment to votes required for motion to pass. Majority of yes or affirmative votes in support of a motion by members of the board who are present and voting are required to take action. So this language is a revision of what we presented to the board and was unsuccessful and was not adopted. Is that correct?
This is
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jeff, I'll let you present since it's your item.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll admit it was a little frustrating. And it's not that I'm not someone who, once the board acts, whether it's for or against something, I mean, I usually like to just move on, even if it's against something that I felt strongly about. I respect the decision of the board and the body. I do feel like this one was worth revisiting only because I felt like the arguments against it just seemed so off base. Like, I don't feel that everyone truly understood what this change was. And this, the change is not going to address something I think it's an outlier of when, we don't have a majority of yes votes. I want to say that doesn't happen very often. We have experienced that already, but I think that was more of a rare situation. I just feel that this is so integral to anybody, not just ours, but can you imagine a city council or Congress taking action on something and the majority of the members don't support it? It seems pretty odd, and I'm not sure how the bylaws initially got set up with allowing it, but it is what it is. So what I want to do is put together sort of either a PowerPoint slide or a handout, maybe a handout, since sometimes we have technical difficulties, just showing sort of what this is trying to accomplish. Because I think if people can then see it, the fact that we are getting caught up on what an abstention meant, I think was a really missing the bigger picture on this sort of thing. Abstentions are supposed to be very rare. If you're against something, you don't abstain, you vote no. We're a transparent body, and everyone in the community should know if we're against something or if we're for something. Abstentions are really intended to be something like maybe you feel you have a conflict of interest and you're not by rules required to recuse yourself, but you do not want to make a decision. You don't want to, you feel it would be unfair to have your vote influence one way or another. So this is why I want to bring it back, but I want to take a more educational approach to the board. And I want to, like I said, prep some materials where everyone can see sort of the exactly why we are making this change.
Thanks, Jeff. Can I add something?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the abstention talk was like, I don't know, I just felt like it was wrong-headed. I think there was almost deliberate that it was like kind of going down on a tangent. But I think what my concern of it is that abstentions, people are saying I should have the right to abstain. That is a choice I have the right to make.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I feel like, to Lauren's point, that we're trying to put in safeguards against corruption, and people are voting against it, which is just, to me, kind of baffling. I'm not sure. I mean, I can guess at why people would be doing that, but I certainly don't think it's in the interest of the current or future board or neighborhood council, neighborhood in general. So, and I wanted to get to what I feel like what is a symptom of a larger problem of this culture of just sort of acrimony that creates a hostile environment with sort of tribal, kind of partisan, not partisan, but sort of tribal alliances that create fear. And when people are afraid to vote, they abstain. When they're afraid to say something, yes or no, they're afraid to vote because clearly we're being reminded that our votes, that we are going to be held accountable for our votes. And so, well, what's going to happen? People are going to abstain. And so rather than use abstentions as they're intended to be used, as I think Jeff described, a conflict of interest or something, they're being used as sort of like a way to hide. And, to see that I think it was three people abstained that time. 3 voted no, 3 abstained, and 4 voted yes. Or four voted yes. So 3 people abstaining seems kind of strange to me, but it also felt like kind of one of those hot button type votes that, who knows what kind of consequences might lay for someone who voted a certain way. So anyway, that's my comment. I don't know how much traction that line of reasoning will get at the meeting, but I think just in this committee, I think that I think we just have to name it. What the abstention is being done is it's sort of like a cop out, so you don't get held accountable for your vote, and we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to vote freely, And so this amendment kind of forces people to, well, what, I mean, then at least this amendment doesn't, I mean, not only does this, I mean, I think that the unfortunate side effect of people hiding behind abstentions is that things pass, you know, and that probably shouldn't. And so it doesn't really it doesn't really serve the board. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm in favor of it, of your motion, of what you're intending to submit. Sorry, that was a really long way of explaining something.
No worries.
What else?
I want to add on, just kind of make a comment, but I want to give Lauren an opportunity before I say anything.
Well, I think it's worth, first of all, bringing up the suggested templates from Dunn and Bonk, just for people's reference, but also let's just clarify, Jeff, how it would differ than what we have now in the existing bylaws.
Sure. I mean, I think it's very, I forget who last time, and it might have actually been you, Lauren, who made, I think, a simplified language, which is basically you need a majority of yes or affirmative votes based on the present members, right? So even if we don't have the full board in attendance, let's say we only have 10, then you need 6 votes, right? You need, so I think that's the basic gist of the whole thing. I do want to add kind of onto what Dave said, and while Dave, I agree with everything you said. You know, I never want to make a decision on anything like this based on sort of a past example. It's always, for me, it's always about we should have the rules that reinforce solid process. And that is sort of my intent here, which is why I want to add the education component to it for the next board meeting. So, you know, and so my request is any motion that comes out of this, if this committee does want to move forward, is that maybe we can, you know, and I'm happy to undertake that task, is that we have some education material that goes along with this, so it doesn't feel like we were unhappy that we didn't get our way and we wanted to come back and rehash the discussion. I feel like adding the education component adds a new element to this. So that's my request of this committee.
Yeah. Just for the record, or just to remind us, what was, because it seemed like what was the pushback in regards to abstentions? Like, what was the misunderstanding?
They said that the abstentions were, you know, someone may not be in favor of something, but they don't want to go on record. And so they just want to abstain instead, so they don't have to be basically transparent about how they felt on something, that they don't want it, they're not in favor of it, but they don't like it, and they just want to be able to abstain.
And what is the
I just want to say I respect everyone's vote and everyone's right? Everyone has the right to abstain, and the reasons I abstain are different from what other people might do it. But again, I think people are misunderstanding sort of what the intent of an abstention is supposed to be, as I see it. It's not transparent.
Is there some recommendation, some guidance about how we are supposed to interpret abstentions or exercise them that comes from Dunn or from our own bylaws?
I'd like to share what we presented with this last time, Jeff, just so we can look at what we're actually proposing.
Sure.
I think that would be helpful.
I think, Dave, you make a good point. Maybe we list sort of what, even if it's not officially from Dunn, we can list sort of a general explanation of what an abstention means in most bodies.
So essentially, Jeff, did you still want to propose that we're adding this?
Abstentions are treated as a non-vote. Simple majority of yes are present. Let's see. There's quorum. Simple At a meeting in which there is quorum, a simple majority vote by members of the board who are present and voting, not including abstentions. At a meeting at which there is quorum, sorry, the wording's still throwing me off, shall be required to take action. Abstentions are treated as a non-vote.
We
Simple majority.
we toyed with the idea of just not
Yeah.
talking about abstentions last time, or went in our committee. Do
I
you
think
think
you
that's
gotta
what's
make a note of it, just because otherwise that starts leading to some ambiguity. I mean, because right now abstentions are treated as no, right?
Well, let me just pull up what we actually.
Or I can't
no,
remember.
they're not as no. That was the
They're
problem.
non-vote, right? Okay.
They are a non-vote. That's already assumed. But they're not a yes is the important thing.
Right. I think the language should just be simplified that you have to have a majority yes votes based on the board members present. That gets to the heart of it, right? So if it's 10 members, you need to have 6 yes, right?
Yeah.
That way we have a majority support any action that the board takes.
So this is what we have now.
Okay. So I think taking out not including abstentions.
So you're basically just saying we'll remove this.
I guess so. That would kind of get to that, right?
Yep. Just removing that. So that's why they were like, no, I get to
Yeah.
abstain. And then
Right.
I'm not on record doing anything, but actually I did impact the outcome of this vote.
Right. So in the example that you gave, let's say we have 9 members, which is barely cutting it on quorum. It's only, and I think let's say we have 4, 3, 2 in the past, it would have, if something would pass because you have 4 yes and 3 no. But with the change, it wouldn't pass because you only have 4 yeses and you would need 5.
Right. So I mean, I think you're agreeing your wording of it was saying like, look, that we need, if we want something to pass, it should be something we agree to.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, we should all agree. Majority rules.
That's the thing, not about would I have the right to abstain.
Right.
Fine, you can abstain, but that doesn't mean that a minority of the people present is gonna control what the outcome, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
yeah. So maybe the simplest way is taking out the not including abstentions, and then that's
I don't know I don't know what would be persuasive to people, but I mean certainly being like here, just want to clarify.
Yeah.
And then do a PowerPoint or whatever you feel like be helpful. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll do like a little briefing sheet or a 1 page.
But it'd be really clear, like, some of these things I'm just like, it's kind of, to me, it's a no-brainer. But if someone understands it and you break it down to them and they still say, I want this other way, then we kind of have to go with it. But I agree, it was a little bit, I think things got off track or it was hard it got kind of squirrely.
Right.
I noticed in Dunn's suggested template, so they give a bunch of different scenarios, and I noticed it said their recommendation is scenario 4. Is that essentially the same thing as what you're saying?
That's what we have now, I think, right?
Oh, hold on, let's see.
President voting and not including.
Oh yeah, we do. You're right. We do have not including abstentions.
Present and voting.
So it says abstentions count and act as no. So that would be, I guess, essentially the same thing, right? Because if it was 4, 3, 2, then that's basically 5 no's to 4 yeses. So I guess that's the same thing.
So is scenario 4 what we're suggesting we adopt, or is that what we already have?
Yeah, because let's say we have all 15 members, right? So you need a minimum of 8 votes to pass something. So even if you had 4 no and 3 abstentions, then it would still pass because that would be 8-4-3.
So we don't think that scenario 4
I think
is
you need that
fair.
parentheses there to just make sure it's totally clear. The abstentions act as no vote, which under DeMartman's recommendation is just missing from that, but it's up top scenario 4.
Okay.
Okay, so let's
Yes.
just break down exactly what we're proposing that's different than what we have now.
Or could we just say we want to change it to scenario 4?
So president voting not including abstentions and abstentions.
Unless I'm missing something.
Wait, non-vote is different than a no vote.
That's where people got really tripped up because
Right, exactly.
and technically it's up to us if we want to say no vote or non-vote, but it's almost like I think we called it a no. Where did we put? We put both, and I think people were really hung up on the no. So maybe we just keep abstentions are treated as a non-vote. But I'm actually getting a little confused now on how the main votes.
I mean, I think that's semantics, non-vote, no vote. In the end, you need a majority of yes. Whether an abstention is a no or a non-vote.
Yeah, I mean it's two separate things. Do abstentions count as a no or not? Doesn't really matter if we just talk about we need a majority of yes.
Yeah. Right.
I almost feel like I don't know why, but I feel like maybe this is just overkill, but moving it up, I feel like making a majority of yes or affirmative votes in support of a motion, having that lead the whole thing helps clarify it, and then the other things
Can
are
we
like an
just take
addendum.
the text from that scenario 4 and just say this is what we want to change it to? This is based on the template provided from Dunn.
Yeah, but let me.
It's right there, that part.
So president voting. President voting and abstentions are treated as a non-vote. This one right here, or the one?
That one. Yeah. Because I think that differs slightly from what's below.
You're talking about the gray one?
Yeah, because it
great.
adds something. It's actually not.
I think then it is fully airtight,
Okay. So let me see.
in my opinion.
So
Okay, so the new proposal is, so we're changing it from the black is the current, and then the new would be president voting and abstention are treated as a non-vote. Need a simple majority of yes.
So this is, I'm sorry, but this looks like what we already have and what we're fighting against, right? That we're advising against, right? Because president voting and abstention. So like run through the scenario that happened with the letter the other day, the other meeting. President voting and abstentions are treated no vote. Needs a simple majority of yes among members who voted yes or no. In that case, it passed.
No,
Right.
this is the change, though. This is what we proposed as the change. The blue.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm reading that, the new proposal. How is that?
Well, the current version is that abstentions don't factor in one way or another. So that's how something passes with 4.
Okay, I see. I
Yeah,
see.
that's how we ended up
That's
with
the
that one when we were
parentheses are
fourth.
saying.
Yeah, yeah.
y-
So,
But
so
but then how is abstention? Isn't it confusing to say they're a non-vote when they actually are a no vote?
right. That's why I think we need the language that you need a majority yes of the current those who are currently in attendance.
think we should, I think this is literally the controversial part is the no.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
non-vote just sounds like just neutral, like it just doesn't count. And
Right.
we're hearing it as like, oh, well then if it's the same thing as no, why would I vote?
Right.
So the only thing is I'm a little stuck on how is what we currently have that says not including abstentions the same, how is it different than a non-vote?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't have abstentions be a no vote equal to it saying no,
That
and also
that's
have it be a
why.
non-vote.
Right. So I hold on. Let me look at this here.
I don't think we're not taking away the power of or their ability to abstain. We're just saying in that scenario it wouldn't
Right.
pass.
Hold on 1 second. Let me look up something here. So the current just I'm reading it just because I want to kind of get my eyes away from all the other language we added in. So this is what it says. A simple majority vote by the members of the board present and voting, not including abstentions, at a meeting which there is quorum shall be required to take official action unless specified otherwise. So I think the way it's worded is because of it says simple majority, not including abstentions. So I think because of how the phrasing is, it made it is what it how it worked before was that you don't count abstentions, so you just need a majority of the majority people present and voting. So if you have 9 people there, 4 yes, 3 no, and 2 abstentions, you're not including abstentions, so then it was a 4-3 vote, and that means it passed. That's how that ended up. That's why I think it's important to say to take out not including abstentions and just say you need a simple majority of the members present. So essentially, the abstentions would count as no. But I think if you put that in there, then people are going to view it as like, well, I don't want it to be no if I abstain. So yeah.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, we could leave it in there. That's fine. People can interpret abstentions however they want. I just think we need to have it. Simple language is a simple majority by people present,
And
and
I
take
think
out the not including abstentions.
like an illustrative example might be like, okay, let's go to the extreme.
Right.
Under these current rules, we've got 9 people, 6 people abstain, 2 people vote yes, 1 person votes no, and it passes.
Well, we also have just to be fair, in the bylaws, it says if a majority of the members abstain, it fails. So in your
Majority
example,
abstentions. Okay.
yeah, so in your example, then that would fail. But that's only if a majority abstain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But so that's why I think the most important part is taking out not including abstentions, because that turned the 9 people present down to really 7 people for all intents and purposes. So then it was a 4-3 vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, any other comments on this item from the board members?
Wait, just to be clear, are we Is this essentially what you want to go with, Jeff? Is your proposal?
Let's see, president voting of, no, that wasn't was that
This was
option 4?
the recommended from the department language, but
Oh wait, can you go back to that thing that one page that you had up before? It was the president. Oh no. Okay, then I think I miss. Uh, no, I guess that wasn't it. Sorry, I must have been looking at a different one. Um, oh, that only applies to abstentions. I think we just want majority yes and take out not including abstentions. Maybe that's just the easier way to go.
you know what? Do they have
And
one
then we
that
could say abstentions can act as a no. That's okay. We can say that. Maybe we say abstentions act as a no for purposes of vote tally. So then people don't think that it's.
I think people are going to object to not being able to, in effect, abstain if they say, well, I didn't really want to vote no, I want to vote abstain. I want to
And
abstain.
that's fine if they want to, but that means it's less likely to pass if they want to do that.
Yeah.
do you want to go with one of these? Like
Present and abstentions.
it sounds like maybe
I guess present and voting abstentions are treated as a no.
so scenario 3, maybe?
Need of simple majority present of yes. Yeah, 3. I think 3 is good.
All right. I mean, it's clear.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
probably the best. It's weird that they start off talking about abstentions rather than flipping that sentence, but
Yeah, it is.
right, because
But they must have a reason for
can we
it.
do that? Can our recommended language flip that sentence? Say need of simple majority present and yes to pass, and then present and abstentions are treated as no. Is that
Okay.
better? Lauren, what do you think?
Sounds good to me. I mean, do we
Okay.
want this?
It's pretty clear.
Do we want to remove like everything existing from this section?
I think so. Yeah, I think it would be just to go to that. Otherwise, I feel like it gets so wordy and then people are going to
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. That's A, 15.1 point A.
Yeah,
If it were
item
1A,
A.
it's just
Under
need of simple majority of yes to pass. President abstentions are treated as a no vote. That's it.
yeah. Good.
Short and sweet.
Simple.
Yeah. Although I would lose the colon at the end or turn it into a
Oh yeah.
period.
Or exclamation point. No, just kidding.
Have we have another member of the public here. We'll take see if anyone wants to make comment before we make a motion.
Anyone from the public want to make a comment? Okay, I don't hear anything, so I move that we adopt the language for this new proposal as written. A need of simple majority of present of yes to pass. Wait, shouldn't it be need of simple majority present? Wait, of present of yes? Doesn't that sound weird?
I think it should be present and yes to mirror
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to rephrase, need a simple majority of present and yes to pass. Present and abstentions are treated as a no vote. So I've
And then the
just,
education item.
and that there will be a some sort of educational presentation to illustrate to clarify. So I've just made a motion. Anyone want a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Lauren Paturin,
Yes.
Jeff Klein,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes too. So motion passes.
Lauren, can I just be really nitpicky and just have the present and yes mirror the present abstention, so the ampersand and capitalized present? So I know this is really a rough draft, but
You want to capitalize the P in present
well,
or no?
okay, I guess not since it was the start of the sentence, but the ampersand.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Or and yeah, that works either way. Yeah, just as long as they're.
I would also say that if we describe yeses, I guess we don't, and sometimes
Oh
we put
yeah,
it in quotes, sometimes we
quotes.
don't,
Yeah,
whatever the style that fits.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, sorry, that was really nitpicky, but
What is that set, Jeff? Does that look like?
yeah, perfect. Yeah, simple, easy.
Great. All right. Shall we move
And
on?
I'll do the education materials and I'll have them ready for the meeting.
Thank you. All right. Can we switch back to the agenda, please?
Sure. Oh, should we have the call user identify themselves?
Hi, call-in user 1. Can you identify yourself?
We don't have to.
Would you like to? Okay.
Okay, it's fine.
Thanks.
Okay.
What are we on?
Let's see, did I skip ahead too far? Oh yeah, we're on C.
Okay, so this was the selection of officers to add a section for the removal of officers. And this is, we brought this to the last board meeting and it didn't pass, so I'm bringing it back. It was almost unanimous, but we had one no. And this is just standard suggested wording that has been omitted from our bylaws. And I believe we should put it back because it allows the board to vote out any officer the same way they were appointed. So to me, this is pretty standard and should never have been removed because this is just typical protocol. So pretty self-explanatory, and Jeff had a good example last time. If say we're having issues with our treasurer and we need to vote out our treasurer and appoint a new one, this gives us the opportunity to do that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
I have a question. You said it had been in our bylaws previously. I think that's something we weren't aware of in the last meeting. So I think that's something, or at least it didn't get raised.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't have I don't have proof.
Oh, okay. I thought you saw maybe a previous iteration of the bylaws.
It just sounds like from what I've heard from past versions of bylaws, different things have been removed, which
Yeah.
is pretty standard. So that's why I assume they were removed because this is just part of what Dunn suggests, we add with officer section.
Yeah, because I mean, maybe you don't know, but I guess what I was wondering is if we know why, if there was action taken to remove it or whatnot. But it sounds like we don't have that information.
No, but I'll also just, for the sake of context, to show where I'm pulling this from. Let me just steal the share real quick.
Sure.
So we have the selection of officers section, which we already have. And then this is optional, but these are the officer removal language. So I'm just pulling this straight from here. And this is just, we have a section about how we can fill the seats, and then we have a section about also how we can actually remove officers. So this is the one that I'm presenting. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. It's majority vote, and then we would just fill the seat at the next board meeting.
Yeah, the other thing, and I may have made this point either in our last bylaws meeting or at the board meeting, but officers are not elected by the community board members are, but officers are selected by the body itself. And so because of that, there should be a method to, rescind that authorization. So the treasurer, for example, was as you mentioned, the example that I gave. So I just think that feels a little incomplete when we have permission for the board to appoint someone to an officer role, but we don't have the ability to take that back if the board, and it should be a high bar, 2/3 is a high bar. So if the board feels that an officer is delinquent or whatnot. So I agree that it's, I again, and I think just so it doesn't feel like we're rehashing things that we feel, we were in favor of and the board didn't, I would throw out that, in addition to educational, maybe a one sheet or a briefing on the previous item we voted on, I'd be happy to do one for this as well to just kind of lay it out for the board. So hopefully that would be helpful, because I'm not sure everyone really understood the intent of this.
I also just want to say every single person but one did vote yes. So this actually was received very well by the board for the most part. So it's just because we have a provision about the number of votes required that we are going to pass later. Normally that would have made this pass. So that's why I want to give it another shot. And I also think it's it would be stranger to not have this because one should have like indefinite authority, and the board should just be stuck with an executive member that's unfit for that seat. So
right, agreed.
All right, so would anyone like to move to well, are there any comments, any more comments from the board members? Okay, any members from the public want to comment before we vote? Okay, seeing no comments from the public, would anyone like to move?
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we recommend to the board adding the language of officer positions may be revoked by 2/3 vote, board members present and voting at regular or special board meetings. If the officers remove the officer position, shall be filled the next regular board meeting. And then also that we commit to producing educational materials for the next board meeting to provide a little more illustration and education on the need for this change.
I'll second.
Okay, Lauren Barturin.
Yes.
Jeff Klein.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. It's unanimous. Motion passes.
I can share my screen. So we are.
Oh, wait, we're on to the next item?
Yes.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Okay, great.
So who submitted this first meeting? Oh, this is yours, Lauren, right?
Oh, this is the addition of section 1C, first meeting of a new term. It states that the first meeting of a new term will be scheduled on the regular meeting day of the month and set by the council's done NEA. And the first meeting shall only be the selection of officers and appointing of committee members and chairs, and held on Zoom if regular location is not secured. So this was this is kind of addressing something that happened this term where we had our first meeting scheduled and planned, as you know, with our NEA, and someone called for a special meeting prior without the authority to do that. And we were kind of in this limbo where, we hadn't appointed a president yet, but we also, the first day of the new term, we were told that our NEA is going to be transferred and we're going to get someone new. So we were in this limbo where someone just kind of took over and acted with authority without having that authority, because the very first meeting of a new term is to appoint the president and to appoint the executive committee and also, fill those committee seats. So this would just basically have it in writing that the first meeting of a new term is always going to be the same. It's always going to be the same agenda. It's just, filling the seats and appointing the officers as well as committees. And then I also just want to add, if, it came up that, okay, so is the NEA going to also post the agendas? And I'm basically proposing they can ask for help from the board, but there's no authority until someone's actually appointed president. So people can help post, but I also acknowledge, it's unlikely that the NEA is going to go to the elementary school and secure it, right? So I would just assume if someone's able to help them to get the school, great, but it's probably, easiest to just assume we'll have it on Zoom. And yeah, this is just basically having it in writing what is already done, but it was kind of abused this term because it wasn't in writing. So I'm basically proposing that we add it to the meeting section.
Any other board members want to comment?
I just want to make a comment. I think this is pretty straightforward and makes a lot of sense. I do want to note that it's a little tangential, but something that I've been saying, and I'll probably say it again, is we have so few meetings in a year to get things done, and this just means we have one less meeting to, normally I was saying we have 12, we really have 11 meetings out of the year to get some work done. So I think it's just a reminder of, which I don't think there's any disagreement with the members of this committee, but just being focused on what we need to do to help our community. And
Jeff, can I actually respond to that?
Sure.
It's not possible to have any other agenda items
because no, I know, yeah, that's why I'm not.
That the agenda is set by the executive committee, right?
Right.
So how can someone get anything else on the agenda? This is basically we're starting fresh with a blank slate. We're just appointing, and then it's like I thought about that too, and I just realized this is what we have to do anyway. It's just someone kind of abused, power and tried to set something with an item that they wanted before this, because this is assumed, but it's just not in writing. But this is technically what's done anyway. So this is just basically having this safeguard where we're explicitly stating, it starts off neutral. The first thing we do is appoint the executive committee.
Yeah, I'm totally on the same page. It wasn't no intent to say, this way we should kind of run the neighborhood council. So it was just about efficiency and so forth. So, but I'm totally on the same page with you. Agree.
Okay. So Jeff, you seem like you for further comments.
No other comments.
Okay, and I guess we can ask for some input from the public. Any public comment? Anyone from the public okay, Frank, go ahead.
I agree with Lauren. It's just a safety measure. What happened at the beginning of this term has never happened in the past, but it was unusual, as I think was spoken from our NEA rep at the last meeting that he normally has is he's there for their first meeting. So I think this is a good safety measure just to protect the board. So I agree with what Lauren was saying, and the rest of you. Seems like it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you, Frank. Anyone else from the public like to weigh in on this? Okay. I see your hand is still up, Frank. I don't know if you have another thing you want to say. Okay. All right. So, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll motion.
Okay, go ahead and read it out.
Making a motion to add the addition of section 1C to the meeting section of our bylaws that state the first meeting of a new term will be scheduled on the regular meeting day of the month and set by the NC's done NEA. The first meeting shall only be the selection of officers and appointing of committee members and chairs, and then held on Zoom if regular location is not secured.
Great. And I'll adopt that language with a period at the end. Anyone, any second? I'll second. Let's do a roll call vote. Lauren Barturn? Jeff Klein?
Yes.
Dave Metz says yes. So motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to Article 13 amendments.
Yes.
Who's brought this to us today?
This is mine. So what I found is that what we have in our bylaws to actually change our bylaws is quite unusual and makes it exceptionally difficult to change our bylaws. So what we currently have now says that let me pull it up. Oh, it says that it requires a 2/3 majority vote of the full board. So that means not even the board members that are present. That means the full board or 10 members of the board. And then this is changing that, what we currently have, to an amendment to the bylaws requires a 2/3 majority vote of the board members present, which is, I grabbed this straight from the suggested template, which I can also pull up as well.
What's your rationale, if you don't
mind? My rationale is we should have the suggested wording, which is typical, which is 2/3 majority vote, instead of this unusually difficult language that seems to be purposefully set to make it even more difficult when that's not even what Dunn suggests. So I'm just proposing that we basically do what's in the suggested language and have a normal, regular, just 2/3 majority vote requirement of the present board members.
So because this is not what the Dunn recommends, it got changed at some point. We don't have any information on sort of what the rationale behind that change was, do we?
No, just what we can, learn from former board members and, when it was changed. But,
yeah, it seems weird. It is unusual and out of step with pretty much every other spot because it's always scalable, right? It's always either scale, if your full board isn't present, it's still majority, so that scales based on who's present and voting, or it's a 2/3 and same thing, it scales, right? So you 2/3 changes depending on who's present and voting. Coming up with this arbitrary 10 seems strange. That's my only comment.
Fine. Where exactly we got this from? So, can y'all see this?
Yeah.
I'm grabbing it straight from the template. The regular language is just 2/3 or simple majority vote of those present. So now I'm going to show y'all what we have right now. So we have this where it says 2/3 majority vote of the full membership. So, that would be every single board member or 10 members of the board. And then there's this other provision that I have for my next item that I'm going to get to, but I'm proposing we just remove this entirely, but that's coming next. But right now I'm just proposing we change E to what is the normal regular language. That's just majority vote, 2/3 majority vote of those present.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What does the board, the full membership of the board, does that reflect vacant positions?
Yeah.
So like if you had less than full, it would be 2/3 of that, as it currently reads. 2/3 of the board that is not vacant.
Yeah, I believe this is actual filled seats.
So what's 10 members of the board? In what case would that happen?
So basically, this is saying you have to have 10 or more people. And then if you do, you have to have 2/3 majority vote of the full membership of the board. If you have less than 10, this says it has to be unanimous. So basically, if we have 10 or more, there's this, unusual provision about it's got to be 2/3 of the full board. So we also are, a pretty small board, and we do not always have, the best attendance. And this is just so, it seems to be set up almost like purposefully to make it extra difficult to pass something when that's not even the standard language.
Right.
I do want to note that there should never be a situation where we regardless of the intent and someone wanting to make it more difficult or not, all that aside, and I don't necessarily disagree, but we should never have a situation where you have to have a majority vote to get anything done, because that allows for 0 people to disagree, and that's okay. People don't always agree. We just want to make sure we have a the right number of people supporting something to move forward. But unanimous is, and there's no body anywhere that I know of outside of maybe some really extreme circumstances that you have to have unanimous. Even in the if you look at the board of supervisors, there's the board can remove an elected official like the sheriff or assessor. But even in that case, they need 4 out of 5 board members. It's only a 5-person board, so it is a high threshold. So that's 80%. But even that, it's not unanimous, and they're talking about removal of an elected official. So yeah, so I don't think we should ever have a situation where we have unanimous. We're required to have a unanimous vote.
So that brings me to the next item, but I separated them just so we could have a separate vote, but we could combine them. Because
What I'd like to do is just see if there's any public comment while it's still fresh in our mind. Is that okay? Anyone from the public want to comment on what we've been discussing so far on this item? Okay, go ahead. Let's move on to the second one. Then we combine them and vote on them together.
sure, yeah. Let me pull up the agenda again. So the next one was just removing that added section, which said, should fewer than 10 members of the board be present at a general meeting during which amendments or adjustments to these bylaws are being considered, approval of said amendments or adjustments requires a unanimous vote by no less than 8 present members of the board. So, like I said, same thing. This isn't in the suggested language template. It's incredibly difficult, especially with our small council. And I'm proposing that we just remove that entirely.
Jeff, any comments?
No, this looks good.
I'm pretty clear on it. Any comments from the public? Questions or comments, I guess. Okay, so if there's no comments from the public, then I would move that we combine these two recommendations, which I can't see right now, but maybe you can go over them. And actually, oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, these are the two. And they're both in the same section and they go together. So we can just combine them.
It's kind of a lot of words, but I'll just say, I move that we remove on Article 13 amendments, that item on our agenda, that we remove amendment to Section 2E, and then remove of Section 2E1. Those both of them are spelled out in the agenda, and so that's the motion that they both be removed. Would anyone like to second?
One second.
I second.
Okay, I think I heard Lauren first. Lauren Barturin.
Yes.
Jeff Klein.
Yes.
And Dave Metz says yes. So motion passes unanimously. Moving on, Article 14, compliance. Removal of Section 3, self-assessment. Who is this yours, Lauren?
It's really just because I realized no one's ever mentioned this. I can't see anyone doing this. We don't know what it means. Where is it going to live? And I looked in the suggested template and it says it could be optional, but in our bylaws, it says like this is basically, you should do this at the end of the term. But I'm just basically saying, why do we need this? No one's using this, and we don't have enough information of who's responsible for it. It says, let me pull up what it says in the template. It says you can discuss if you hit your goals. This is what it says, but it leaves it open. We may do that. I just caught it and was wondering why we have it. And, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to do this thing no one knows anything about. So.
Okay. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I agree. It's like, seems it's so little, something that people aren't very familiar with, and it doesn't really, so I think we just remove it.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that it's like a feel good, like self-assess, like we should reflect on how we're doing and goal setting, and that sounds like it's a checkbox that put in there. But I mean, if we had a culture of like continuous improvement or iterative improvement, whatever, that would be awesome. But at present, doesn't sound like anyone's doing it or wanting to do it. And if it's not getting done, we should probably not have it in our bylaws. And
Yeah.
and at very least, we should, if we want to reintroduce it, be more specific, be more deliberate about goal setting. What does that mean? How do we measure things? What data do we, I mean, there's a lot there that, to Lauren's point, is not being spelled out, and it's just kind of mushy, and therefore I think it's hard for us to really embrace it.
Yeah, I think if we want to do self-assessment, there's way better ways to do something like that than some arbitrary thing that's been placed in the bylaws. As a group, there's a lot of ways we can do it. That could be more productive and collaborative. So I'm all for removing this and taking a different look at self-assessment if we get to that point.
Yeah, and we still have standing rules, we can
Yeah,
we can
exactly.
add some, this just gives us no information, and I've never heard anyone mention it. And I feel like if we're not even using it, why do we have it in the bylaws that this is something we shall do?
Okay. Any other comments from board? So, public, would any members of the public, stakeholders, would any of you like to comment on this agenda item? All right, hearing no comments from the public nor hands, I move that we remove the language specified about the self-assessment from the bylaws, or I should say that we recommend that the removal to the board.
Second.
Lauren Barturin.
Yes.
Jeff Klein.
Yes.
Dave Metz, yes. Okay, motion passes unanimously. And we're on to election. Article 5 election. Is this you, Lauren?
This is mine, but I actually am going to suggest we postpone indefinitely and just remove it, because basically I noticed that it said that there was a method of verifying stakeholder status, and they can verify their stakeholder status through written self-affirmation. And I was going to suggest, because I saw in the suggested template, it said we could also say that they need to provide acceptable documentation. I misread this as committee members, not voters. So, because that's what we do anyway for committee members, but I realize now this is for voters and how they can verify their stakeholder status. And I believe Dunn has their own process for voting for stakeholders. So,
all right, to clarify, you mean board members, not committee members?
No, so this is all about stakeholders.
Right.
And because I was reading this as someone that's actually a part of our council, like on a committee or
I see.
but I misread it because it's about being able to vote.
It's about voters.
Yeah, so I'm not passionate about
okay.
that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna clarify, because we do require, proof if you want to be on the council. Voters, Dunn has their own system of how people can vote. So I vote, we can just postpone indefinitely unless, someone else wants to take this on.
What do we need to do? We're just tabling it indefinitely. What do we need to do? Do we vote on that?
We could just do a quick vote.
Okay.
The motion to just postpone indefinitely, meaning we basically just drop it entirely.
Right. Let's see if any comments from the public on this item. Okay, hearing no comments. Would anyone like to motion that we table this?
Yeah, I already made a motion.
Okay, I second. Lauren Bertrand,
Yes.
Jeff Klein,
Yes.
Dave Metz, yes. Motion passes. Tabled indefinitely. Okay, so we've reached item 5, board member comments. Are
So
there
there's
any?
one more. It's the
Oh,
last.
sorry, I see that. Amendment solely to correct grammar. Right, I forgot about this. Jeff, this is you, right?
Yeah. So I spoke to the Dunn representative. I forgot his name. The gentleman who's been coming to the last couple meetings.
Lorenzo.
I'm sorry?
Lorenzo.
Yes,
Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. So I asked him kind of based off of some of the work that I did, and Lauren made some had good feedback about, well, I'm not, don't know if we can really go in. How does that work? There's a lot of different grammatical and spelling errors and formatting on the bylaws. Kind of what it looks to me is a document that changed over time, but it was changed by different people. So the wording gets different. Some spots it's board member, some spots it's member of the board. There's formatting issues like it wouldn't be A, B, C, D, it would be A, B, C, and then skips a letter or something like that. So there's a lot of different things like that. There's some repetitive language, literally looks like someone copied a sentence twice. Um, so there's a lot of cleanup, and I have a draft where I went through the entire bylaws and kind of noted all the little changes. The intent is not to change any of the context or substance. Obviously we're addressing that both in the last meeting and this meeting with these items that we just discussed. So this would be really just to correct grammatical format, spelling errors, and I would, definitely provide a sort of the draft would show where the changes are and what the new language is, so that if anyone had any questions about, well, did you change something? How do we know you didn't change the substance? It'll all be documented and everyone could see that. So that's kind of how I want to approach this and the purpose for this item.
Lauren, do you have any comments?
Just that, I have noticed there are a lot of formatting issues and, it'd be good to have a cleanup. And I think people will appreciate the transparency of just seeing exactly what was changed. But thanks for taking this on.
Yeah, thanks a
Sure.
lot. I think
It
it's
was actually it was a fun, because I'm such a government nerd. It was a fun project to go through and just kind of do a real good read of the bylaws and just kind of see some of it. So I enjoyed that process, reading through and seeing what needed to be changed.
great. Well, you're the right man for the job. So I guess I would ask, how would you propose to submit it, like to what format, so that everyone can see the
Yeah.
changes you've suggested? Are you talking about a redlining document in Microsoft Word or Docs or Google Docs, or how would you propose to do that?
So at work, I previously worked on legislation. And so sort of I used the process that we used when we would do any kind of changes to existing code. And so that's just my habit. So, red, red font and then strike through for what's removed and then blue text for the changes, even if it's, adding on a letter, removing a letter, like turning something from plural to singular, showing all of that. So that's a draft I can prepare. And if the board approves this motion or this recommendation rather, I can send that to the board for everyone to be able to look at if that's the appropriate way to go.
Well,
That
I don't
sounds
have
good.
time for two because we're presenting this to the board to vote
So
on.
I can present it with then we can provide the draft copy then with this item if we recommend to the board.
Actually, I don't know if you'll be able to have it in time, but we won't have time to have it yet approved twice. So if you have something to show for, the 11th,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I can have it. We can attach it to the agenda for the next board meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's would that work?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah,
Perfect.
I can. It's close to ready to go. So obviously we can, and then we can highlight where any in the last meeting, if anything, I just off the top of my head, I can't remember what our decisions were there, but we can make sure that's incorporated since that's already been approved. But nothing for this meeting would make it into that draft just because the board wouldn't have voted on it yet. So.
Wait, say that last part again.
So in the last board meeting, the board acted. I can't remember off the top of my head just because there was a lot of items, but if the board did approve any changes during our last board meeting, those can be reflected in this draft. But any changes that we've discussed today, these recommendations, those wouldn't be reflected in the draft just because the board will
Oh,
not
right.
have a chance to vote on it. Yeah.
But
Just real quick, go through that last meeting. So 15.1 was failed, and so did 15.2. And then these three are the ones that are going to be unfinished business that we
Oh, okay. So there'd be nothing from that meeting then. Okay.
so yeah, nothing was approved that meeting that we'll be bringing over, but you still have to yeah.
Okay. Sorry, it was a blur last meeting, so.
I know, and we don't get the final minutes
yeah.
until like the executive committee meeting. So but I have my transcript if I need to like find anything. But yeah, I double checked too just to be sure, and
Okay.
we were discussing 15.3, and then people are like, let's wrap this up and get to this next time.
Okay. Sounds good.
all right. So let's go back to our current agenda. And I guess we have gotten to the end or gotten to item 5, board member comments. Any comments from?
We better vote on it.
Oh, wait, we have to
Oh, wait,
still
wait,
vote on that.
Sorry. Who would like to move that we who would like to move?
Did we get a public comment? Did we ask for
Public comment. Who would like to make a comment from the public? Okay, I don't see any hands or hear any voices, so would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll motion.
So you're motioning that we correct any grammatical formatting and spelling errors without changes to the meaning, intent, or effect of any provision, and to be voted on by the board at the next regular meeting. Who would like to second, if any?
I second.
Okay, Lauren Barturin,
Yes.
Jeff Plunn,
Yes.
and Dave Metz says yes. So we are unanimous. Motion passes. Now we're at 5, board member comments. Any comments from the board?
I just want to say, Matilda, thanks for joining us, and to answer your question, it's I think you had a question about how do we feel about having committee members meet and vote on things for our council. So we have the chance to update our bylaws. So that's why we are having this meeting, because we can actually present this to Dunn to update our bylaws. So yeah, I want to say just thanks for attending.
Yes, thank you so much for answering my question, Lauren, and for the meeting as a whole. I definitely learned a lot as well.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to tell Matilda, I don't know how much work you have to do for your assignment, but it would be great to see you at our general board meeting, get a much broader sense of some of this process. So hope to see you there.
Yes, thank you. I'd love to attend an in-person meeting.
Great.
Great.
Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, March 11th at 6:30 at Alessandro Elementary School on Riverside.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, any other board member comments? Well, I would like to comment that I think we got a lot done, and thank you for everyone's team effort. For Lauren for those reminders. Thank you, Jeff, and thank you to Jamie for printing and posting. And yeah, we all came together, and this is definitely not a small amount of work. And I think we all understand how important it is that we do this for the future of the board. That's why we meet from 5 to 7 on a Saturday. So with
Well,
that,
I want to,
yeah.
and I want to thank you, Dave, for running this meeting. Appreciate that. And I want to thank Lauren for her really insightful research and the job some of the background work she's been doing on bylaws and some of the history of our bylaws. So it's been super helpful for these meetings. So I appreciate that.
Yes, Lauren, absolutely. The depth that you have brought to this and just the thoroughness that you bring to it. We just couldn't do it without you. So thank you. Okay, so with that, I move that we adjourn this committee meeting. Any seconds?
I'll second.
Let's just do all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all those opposed. Meeting adjourned at 6:53. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend.